Most teams blame cold outbound performance on the list, the copy, or the volume. Sometimes those things are the problem. But if you keep changing subject lines, buying data, and sending more emails without checking the offer, you may be fixing the wrong thing. You can't fix a math problem by sending more bad math. If 10,000 people ignore an offer, sending it to 100,000 people doesn't make it stronger. I will show you how to tell whether your offer is built for cold traffic and how to make it more compelling before you scale. Hi, I'm Sergio Perea, founder of Boost Hero. I run high volume outbound campaigns across multiple industries and have generated over $8 million in pipeline value. One pattern keeps showing up. A campaign underperforms, and the first reaction is to change the list, then the copy, then the subject line, then the volume. Those changes matter, but they cannot create demand for an offer people don't care about. Cold outbound is not only a messaging problem, it's an offer problem. Your message can be clear and your data clean, but if the prospect thinks, I don't need this right now, better wording has a limit. The better question is, did we give that person a reason to care today? That changes how you build the campaign. Let me make this practical with SaaS. Most SaaS outbound sounds like this. We help companies automate operations with one platform. Want to see a demo? That is not much of an offer. It's an invitation to look at software. It works best when the prospect already wants new software. That is demand capture. Now change the offer. Imagine saying, give us one painful workflow your team still manages manually. We will map how it works today, rebuild that workflow inside our platform, and handle the setup. Before we start, we agree on what success means. Maybe that means fewer manual steps, maybe faster turnaround, maybe fewer handoffs, maybe we're removing work happening across disconnected tools. We use your real workflow. If we hit the agreed outcome, then we can talk about rolling this out further. If we don't, you don't move forward. That is a different offer. You are not asking the prospect to watch a demo and imagine the value. You are doing real work to prove part of the value. The desired outcome becomes clearer. The buyer is not buying software, they are buying a better version of a painful workflow. The perceived likelihood of success goes up because the test uses their process. Time to value drops because you started with one workflow. Buyer effort drops because your team handles the setup. Risk drops because they see a result before making the larger commitment. That is what a strong cold offer should do. Make the first step or first decision easier than the final buying decision. The exact implementation depends on your product. Maybe you configure something, maybe you migrate something, maybe you build an integration, maybe you automate one workflow, maybe you solve one expensive part of a larger problem. The principle is the same. Don't ask a cold prospect to imagine value, deliver a piece of that value before asking for the full commitment. Move from want to see our software to want us to solve one real problem and prove this is worth exploring. That can create demand before you scale. Now use the same logic for your own offer. Start with the strongest version you could responsibly deliver. Don't begin with what subject line should we test. Ask what could the offer be that will make the prospect stop and think. What valuable work could you perform before asking for a larger commitment? I don't mean another ebook, webinar, or free audit that is really a sales call. For cold traffic, the value needs to feel real. There should be meaningful effort on your side. Think about a bar. If I ask someone for a sip of their drink, I'm asking them for value. If I buy them a drink, I put something into the interaction first. There is a cost to me that signals seriousness. The same principle applies here. Make the first step valuable enough that the prospect doesn't need perfect timing to care. Free work is not practical for every business. If it doesn't make sense, look at risk. What guarantee could move risk away from the buyer? The goal is not reckless promises. It's removing reasons to say no before the conversation begins. A specific outcome, higher initial value, lower buyer risk. That is stronger than describing your service. When the offer gets stronger, the copy becomes simpler. There is one more mistake I see. Companies invent the offer inside a meeting room. Don't build it from assumptions. Talk to the market. My recommendation is to review minimum of 50 recorded sales calls. If you don't have the recordings, start conducting conversations, look for patterns. What outcomes do prospects repeatedly say they want? What problems do they describe? What makes them hesitate? For a SaaS company, the buyer may not want better software. Maybe they want fewer manual steps, faster quoting, cleaner handoffs, or better visibility. Those are examples, not assumptions. The point is to listen. Then build the offer around outcomes that keep appearing. This matters when your platform does many things. Your product might have 20 features. The prospect may care about one painful workflow. Lead with that. One call can mislead you. You need enough conversations to notice recurring themes. Then take those themes back into the offer. The offer should come from the market. Once you have that, your list, copy, and infrastructure have a stronger foundation. Before launching a campaign, write your offer in one sentence. Then ask 3 questions. What specific outcome is the buyer getting? What first step makes the offer easier to say yes to? And what risk can you remove? For SaaS, don't stop at we automate operations. What painful workflow can your product improve? What part can you configure, migrate, analyze, automate, or implement before asking for a commitment? Package that into a clear first step. Test that offer before rewriting subject lines. If you haven't done the market research, review 50 sales conversations, listen for the outcome people repeat. Call outbound works better when the offer creates interest, not only captures interest. If you want more systems for building outbound at volume, subscribe to the channel.